Hey everybody, welcome back. We're 56% of the way through the foundations, and this time we are going to be working at Flexbox, and this one's called Introduction to Flexbox. Introduction. As you learn, there are many ways to move elements around a web page. New methods have been developed over the years, and older things have fallen out of style. Flexbox was not always available as CSS. Its debut was revolutionary. Learn more about the history of Flexbox. So we can check this out. Looks like it's just a Medium article, so you guys can read that if you want. Many resources put it near the end of the curriculum because it's somewhat new as a technology, but at this point it has become the default way of positioning elements for many developers. Flexbox will be one of the most used tools in our toolbox, so why not learn it first? Lesson overview. This section contains a general overview of topics that you will learn in this lesson. You will learn how to position elements using Flexbox. You will learn about Flex containers and Flex items. You will learn how to create useful components and layouts that go beyond just stacking certain items. Before we get started, Flexbox layouts can get a little complicated. In a previous lesson, you learned how to inspect and debug things using your browser's developer tools. Those tools will be crucial for you in the following lesson. If something isn't behaving the way you expect, inspecting it in developer tools should be your first step every time. Flexbox isn't necessarily any more difficult than the other concepts that we've covered so far, but it does have a few more moving parts. It is going to be somewhat difficult to make use of any of the things you're learning in the first lesson until you get to the end and can put it all together. As we go, do yourself a favor and play with all of the code examples. You will almost definitely need to come back and reference these lessons or a couple of the resources we share with you when you get the assignment at the end of the section, but if you take the time and experiment with the code examples provided, you'll know better what to look for when the time comes. Let's flex. Flexbox is a way to arrange items in rows or columns. The items will flex, i.e. grow or shrink based on some rules that you can define. To get started, let's look at a demonstration. So here's the demonstration. We've embedded a lot of interactive examples in this lesson. Take your time to experiment with them as you go through. So we have div 1, 2, and 3. If we look at the CSS, we can see the Flex container contains these 3 divs. And then the Flex container, well, let's see what happens if we uncomment this. So we just remove this guy. And yeah, so if we make it flex like that, then we can save the result. I don't know why they would want us to do that. But yeah, if we make it flex, then it changes it that way. Flex container. Peach 4 pixel ground. Flex container div. 1, 2, 3. Let's see if we just type in some stuff here. Hi 1, 3. So yeah, the container seems to make it so it becomes like that. But if we comment this out, this is how you comment out CSS. 1, 2, 3. Then it separates like that. So the display flex has a pretty big impact. So we can get rid of this now. And result. We'll get into exactly what's going on here soon enough. But for now, let's uncomment the 2 Flex-related CSS declarations in the above code pen by removing the / tags around them and see the result. Okay, let's look back at the CSS. So what they're saying, if we get rid of this guy, we get this single bar where the elements don't have anything. But what happens if we get rid of this guy? Okay, so now it breaks them into 3 panels that are lined up to each other. So within the Flex container, if it has a Flex element of 1, I wonder what happens if we do 2. Guess it didn't make much of a difference. We'll just leave it at 1 for now. Comments prevent the browser from interpreting the code as the lines as code, and we are wrapped between specific tag elements. CSS uses / asterisk as an opening tag and asterisk / is a closing comment tag. While HTML and JavaScript have their own syntax, commented out lines of code can be re-enabled by removing the comment tags and surrounding the code. All 3 divs should now be aligned horizontally. 1, 2, 3. If you resize the results frame with the 1x or 0.5 or 0.25 buttons, you'll see that the divs will flex. If you resize the result frames, height, border, how would you resize their frames? They will fill the available area and will each have equal width. If you add another HTML inside the flex container, it will show up alongside the others and everything will flex within the available zone. So if we were to go div class is equal to 4, now we should see 4. Yeah, cool. Flex containers and flex items. As you've seen, Flexbox is not just a single CSS property, but a whole toolbox of properties that you can use to put things where you need them. Some of these properties belong on flex container, while some go in flex items. This is an important concept. A flex container is any element that has display flex on it. So up here, this guy had display flex, and that's the container that it was in. And then this one, flex container, had, I guess, flex items. A flex item is any element that lives directly inside the flex container. So item. Yeah, so flex item is not a specific thing. It's just the idea that it's within a flex container, which is just a container that's displayed element is flex. Somewhat confusingly, any element can both be a flex container and a flex item. Said another way, you can put display flex on a flex item and then use Flexbox to arrange its children. Okay, so then you're putting them within there. Creating a nesting multiple flex containers and items is the primary way we will be building up complex layouts. The following image has achieved using only Flexbox to arrange, size, and place the various elements. Flexbox is very powerful. So as you can see, they've got a flex container. Well, the whole thing's probably a flex container, and then within it, there's 2 different divs, and then within that, there's 3 divs within the first one, and within the second div, there's 2. So that's kind of the thing. So knowledge check. The following questions are an opportunity to reflect on key topics in this lesson. If you can't answer a question, click on it to review the material and but keep in mind you are not expected to memorize or master this knowledge. So what's the difference? The difference is that one's inside of the other, I think, yeah. Flex container is any element that has display flex, and it can have any elements inside of it. So the difference between an item and a flex container is that any divs that were within a flex container are considered flex items of that element. How do you create a flex item? You just do div. Well, we can just click here, and I think it'll show us. You just create a container element, and you add the display flex to it. This section contains helpful links to related content and isn't required, so consider it supplemental. So you guys can go through this if you want on your own, but for now, we're just going to mark this one as complete and move on to the next lesson, which is growing and shrinking. So thank you guys for watching. We'll see you in the next one.